Okay, on to making this rusty hardware look like as if it just rolled off the production line. This cart had been outside for about a year or more and looked like it. Now, I restore old hand planes as the new ones are way too expensive to buy and the old ones can work just the same. The rust on these old hand planes is enough to rethink when you receive your last tetanus shot. So I thought if the process works on a smaller scale, then why wouldn't it work on a bigger scale? This process being a nice citric acid bath. When I first read about this, I was kind of skeptical, so I ran a couple tests where actually sinking an old hand plane in water with a high concentration of citric acid. But this actually works wonders. And don't forget to mix with an important tool called a stick. Now the rule is about 1/2 cup of citric acid per 1 gallon of water. The container I used was this 30-gallon plastic barrel, which actually turned out to be perfect as anything bigger would have required more water and thus more citric acid. The first step in prep is to remove all the dirt and grime off the metal, as this would hide the rust underneath. So I grabbed the hose and my trusty stick and went to work. Cue the chickens in 3, 2, 1, chickens. Once the hardware is all cleaned and enough to start the rust removal, pick it up and put it in the bath. Fill the barrel with as much water as you need to submerge the hardware entirely. After this, it's just a waiting game. I added the corner brackets about an hour after because I forgot to put them in. Once all the hardware is in, we wait and check on it about every 2 hours and make sure the process is working and/or complete. After this process is no longer removing any rust, we drain the solvent, which is non-toxic, and we start cleaning off the metal, as it will have this blackish coating of goop on it. To wash, I just use warm water and a Brillo pad, and just scrub until the black is removed. I would have done this washing outside, but it was dark, cold, and wet, so I opted for an indoor utility sink. After all the parts are clean, I just then take a rag and dry them so they don't rust again. Next step in the process is protecting them from rusting again, which includes paint. Now I don't know about you, but I shake my spray paint like Tom Cruise in the movie Cocktail. I started out with this special Rustoleum paint, and I wasn't a big fan of the color or application. It wasn't really flat, but dull, and the applicator was more of a splatter than a spray. I then switched to the same Rustoleum brand, but a high performance type of paint in a different spray applicator, which turned out to be night and day. I'll have the link to these in my notes if you want to use the same. Now, I'm no paint expert, but I have spray painted a bunch of things and I have this process that seems to work. Instead of just holding down the applicator and spraying in all motions to cover the material, I choose a direction. Now I like left to right, and I push down the applicator in only that direction, always staying about 6 to 8 inches away, unless I need to get in close. I love this Lineberry Cart's wheel print. It's just nice to look at, especially when it's looking a little bit less rusty. It's pretty much the same process for all the rest of the hardware. Once you're done, stand back and admire the hard work and recovery of Industrial Cart's cast iron hardware. Did I mention this stuff weighs a